Assume someone is eating a whole food, plant-based diet. What is the exact current advice on nutritional supplementation? Should we be taking B12, essential fatty acids, vitamin D, DHA, EPA? What is the very specific list of supplements that you could say for anyone in the country, but specifically if you're following a whole food plant-based diet and you want to stay healthy and avoid disease forever, what is the supplements that you are recommending or not recommending?
Okay, well, I did speak about this a little bit today already, and I made two important points. And one was that there are certain supplemental recommendations that we think are harmful and increase the risk of cancer and shortens people's lifespan. And those are particularly folic acid, which is not present in nature. What we get from fruits and vegetables is folate, which is not the same compound as folic acid. And the long-term studies that look at people using folic acid supplementation long-term show an increased risk of common cancers. I'm very concerned about the excessive use of folic acid in our modern community being a risk factor of cancer. Isolated beta-carotene has some risks, and isolated vitamin E has some risks. But I think that vitamin A, acetyl palmitate, and retinol palmitate in supplements also seems to be extremely risky. So the first thing is that we're somewhat cautious at being conservative in our use of supplements because there's some history of having used synthetic supplemental ingredients, especially when using an isolated nutrient in high amounts that can be cancer promoting, and particularly when those nutrients are widely available in plant foods in high amounts already. We get tons of folate in fruits and vegetables. We get all the conversion from all the various carotenoids into vitamin A adequately. It's easy to overshoot those things. Okay, that said, what I'm saying right now is that there's an optimal level for most nutrients, and we need a wide variety of nutrients, but being deficient in something is almost never, or having suboptimal levels is not going to be good for our health. And having excessive amounts of a nutrient is not going to be good for our health either. For many nutrients, there's a sweet spot in the center where we seem to get the best results long term. And if we use vitamin D as an example, that vitamin D deficiency with severe vitamin D insufficiency or deficiency exists in my medical practice. I've seen people with vitamin D levels of 8 and 10 and 12 and 15, and not only with levels that low, but I've also seen people with severe issues because of their level being that low. So, but the amount a person needs, but also we see issues and have studies that show that excessive amounts of vitamin D, given by many endocrinologists, taking 30,000, 50,000 units a week, or even 10,000, particularly vitamin D2, which is synthetic, can have negative effects. So we have to be conservative in our recommendations and not think that we have to rely on food to get most of what we need. That said, if our diet is strictly vegan, there may be some nutrients like vitamin B12. Vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin. We live indoors, and some people have a higher need for it than others, but then we should use a conservative amount and not push it too high. The EPA and DHA, particularly DHA, is the omega-3 fatty acid that varies considerably from person to person in the ability of the conversion enzymes to make the adequate levels. When we look at most of the studies on cognitive impairment or brain shrinkage with omega-3 index, they all seem to show similar evidence that levels below 5 does not lead to brain fullness and as much cognitive health as levels above 5. But when we see levels dropping below 4 on the omega-3 index, we see consistently across the board that we get what we see brain shrinkage and cognitive impairment. So luckily, in today's society, we do have modern ability to take a person's blood test and see if their levels are coming too low, and we can adjust them accordingly. So using supplements conservatively, we do have an opportunity to be more precise and to make sure people don't get in trouble. There's even recent evidence to suggest that too much B12 may not be as benign as we thought it was. But then again, a deficiency is still bad. we don't want to just assume, because we're protecting people against B12, that giving people 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams of B12 a day is harmless, because it may not be for certain people. So I'm saying that these things are in transition, but we have a lot of information available to target our advice to make sure people are safe and get the right amount of nutrients they need. And there is also some, and for example, iodine is another one. Now, you don't need to eat animal products to get iodine. There's iodine in seaweeds and certain vegetables. But some people not eating seaweeds may be better off with some iodine exposure in their diet or in their supplement. So we just got to be sensible, be conservative. And just like with the diet high in animal products, they have a lot of things they need they're not getting enough of. And we're trying to optimize exposure to all nutrients in a way that's most conservative and safest based on as much review of the scientific data we have available today. It's a broad overview.